Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting for round number 2 of season number 10 of XSLR, live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, driving the ARCA cars tonight. I'm Adam Thomsen. Joining me in the broadcast booth and running the cameras is Ron Maunz, and I think we're going to be in for a really good race here tonight. Of course, last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Harrison Chandler with the win, who is not here tonight. So a possible new winner in victory lane. But as we have wrapped up qualifying, Jake Ham was fastest. Here's the lineup for tonight's race. Jake Ham on the pole, and on his outside, Dylan Voss in the number 19. Row 2, the 98 of Matt Lass and Andy Kossig. Row 3, Corey Patton, Derek Volke. In row 4, Chad Gross and Brad Cathcart. Row 5, Jason Greider in the 552 with Tyler Brown next to him. And outside of the top 10 here, Joshua Sushi. And of course, the big boss around here, around Slow Motion Broadcasting, is the 077 of Joshua Wilkie. Kevin Irwin will be your final starter. We'll bring in Ron Maunz here. Ron, what are you expecting here tonight?
Well, I'm expecting many wonderful things, and I will immediately apologize at the offset of this show. Things not going to be looking too crisp and calm here today. So to those who have been tuning in throughout all of the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting today, earlier on was the broadcast of the 46th Weekend Warriors Virtual Runoffs, where some of these racers, including Mr. Joshua Wilkie, Jason Greider, Brad Cathcart, and others, were participating in. That was 3 races back-to-back at the new Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is about as poorly optimized as you could possibly imagine. That was 3 races of absolute chaos and bedlam at a poorly optimized track and a 3.5-hour long broadcast. As a result of that, my GPU is close to boiling, and as a result of that, I've had to turn down all of the graphics settings so we can get more than 15 frames per second. I am hoping that the show is looking good for all of you tuning into the show, and I do deeply, deeply apologize for that, but I'm looking forward to this race, Adam. I think we're in for a good one. Las Vegas with these ARCA cars, bit of an unknown quantity, especially considering this is a new and improved version of Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I believe this was one of the tracks that was altered in the brand new iRacing update, but I'm certainly looking forward to the action here tonight, and keeping my fingers crossed that my PC doesn't explode.
Well, here we go. Possible fireworks in the broadcast booth and possible fireworks on the racetrack as we gamble our way here in Las Vegas. Pace truck is out, the lights are off, and we're ready to go racing here around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, home of so many iconic races. Of course, just a couple of years ago, Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace getting into it here during the NASCAR Cup Series race. Pace truck should be pulling off this time. And here we go. Jake Ham leading the field away as we get ready to go. Green flag will fly. And away we go here around Las Vegas Motor Speedway as everybody going side by side. Almost 3 wide. Further back for that second spot. Now 3 wide in the second row, but side by side for the race lead through turns 1 and 2. And you can see Jake Ham, he's keeping that nose out in front. This is one of those racetracks. It's an intermediate racetrack. You can't just keep your foot in the entire time. You will have to lift a little bit. Maybe think about tire conservation as well, like we saw last night at Bristol Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Cup Series. And now Dylan Bose, he will get out in front, and he will lead the opening lap here at XSLR round number 2 of season 10. And now everyone trying to just figure out where they can run on the racetrack. Right about now, it seems like that middle groove is the way everybody is going. Wouldn't be surprised if we see other guys maybe move up a little higher, like Jake Ham and Dylan Bose are doing right now. And of course, keeping that tire wear, more of a front thinking here on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The tires will fall off very, very quickly here if you run them too hard, Ron.
Yeah, that is a big worry about this racetrack. Keeping our fingers crossed, though, that won't be too much of a concern for these racers. But again, it's racing. Sometimes the best races come when the drivers are just a little bit uncomfortable. I want to pull up the weather graphic if I can here in a couple of moments. I'm letting you know how the conditions and all that stuff are looking at the present moment in the sim. Of course, running under the lights here at Las Vegas, which can mean it can be a little bit cold at certain points in time. But again, it is still Vegas. It can still be a little bit warm. He says, as someone who has spent his entire life on the East Coast, and the farthest west he has ever gone is Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, right now, further back, there is a battle for the third spot between Matt Lass and Tyler Brown. Those two side by side. Tyler Brown is on the inside of the 821 car. Across the line they go. Matt Lass just holding on to it by just 0.002 of a second, 2/1000ths of a second, separating that pair. And also you can see the Zitroot Racing guys. Those guys are also just trying to navigate their way through the field. Those are the purple cars that you see there on your screen. That is Derek Folk and is that Corey Patton that's also a part of that group now? Maybe it is. But right now, Derek Folk leading the charge for that team. It's a 78 of Derek Folk and the 28 of Chad Gross here. Again, the one thing to keep in mind about this race, of course, is going to be the tire wear. And as Ron mentioned here, the weather right now showing about 85 degrees air temperature. So still quite warm, really, for this race. So got to keep our eyes on that here. Joshua Wilkie, he's moved into 8th here in that 077 car, and he's trying to chase down Corey Patton. Joshua Wilkie in the Ninja Turtles car with the Pizza Hut sponsorship. Of course, got to make sure you get that pizza in there. And you can see what these guys are starting to do. They're starting to run higher up the racetrack because they know that's where they can preserve their tires a little bit better and not have to worry about these tires coming apart so quickly like you would riding the bottom side. But the 31 car, the 131, excuse me, of Corey Patton, he's stuck down there. He can't quite get up to the higher side. So his tires are going to be yelling and screaming at him very, very shortly. And you can see he's already getting punished. And Joshua Wilkie into the wall, and he saves it. Nice save there by the Big Buzz here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. Gets a good save off the wall there and has to recollect it. Ron, that was very, very close.
Yeah, that could have ended in an absolute catastrophe for Josh. He still hangs on to that spot, at the very least for now. It has allowed Corey Patton to have a bit of a cushion as it stands presently. You can see him right now in the 131 machine as he heads his way downtown into 1 and 2. Looking at him now battling hard with Chad Gross and Matt Lass right in front of him as well. This field's still very close together, as you can see Lass really trying to cut shapes in that battle with himself and Derek Folk. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Dylan Vos and Tyler Brown starting to duke it out side by side for the race lead. Here we go.
Well, Dylan Vos on the outside line in the 19, Tyler Brown on the inside, using up those tires a little bit more, but would like to try and get out in front, but they're still side by side through turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. Tyler Brown had the lead for just a brief moment by a nose, and here they go into 3 and 4. Vos using that outside line to his advantage, but Tyler Brown may have the run this time, but on the exit, of these corners, the higher line does get a bit of advantage on these intermediate tracks, unlike you would see at a place like Martinsville or Richmond. The higher line sometimes does not get that much of a momentum run to keep out in front and to defend. If you watched the Cup race last night, you actually saw drivers opting to take the higher side because they knew that they could get the momentum run off of the exit of the corners. Sometimes it didn't work though. So Tyler Brown's got a little bit of work to do, but he's using up those tires. Jake Cam, he's trying to fight back. He wants to get back out in front after finishing second last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. In his post-race interview, he sounded really dejected by not getting that win. And of course, he was the season 9 champion. He would like to go back-to-back champion here at XSLR, especially on its 10th season, but he has lost his momentum. He has gone backwards, and he's already down to 5th. And right now, the battle for the race lead still ongoing. They are separated by just a few thousandths of a second. And Tyler Brown, he can't quite get the clear on Dylan Bose, and maybe this time he doesn't know. Dylan Bose keeping right with him here down the back straightaway on to turns 3 and 4. And Derek Fulk, he's getting quite the show here. And of course, everybody right now in front of him seeing Derek Fulk moving up the leaderboard. And we all saw what he did in season 9 in the GT3 car and how he dominated every single race of the GT3 series. This time, it's not looking so good as Jake Cam getting by Derek Fulk and battling for 3rd.
Yeah, and keeping it real nice and tidy in that battling right now. Doing a jump away from this camera angle as that right there was Jake Ham able to clear Derek Fulk. And now Fulk feels some pressure from the car right behind. That's Matt Lass looking to capitalize on that opportunity and seize a spot inside the top 4. And we'll have to see how that battling is going to shake out. Meanwhile, there's some racing going on right behind these two. Following Brad Cathcart in the 905 car and Corey Penn in the 131. Now, earlier on today, Brad Cathcart in the 905 machine ended a Formula Ford race upside down after crashing after the finish. As much as he may be Australian, that may be on brand, I don't think he wants to do that here in this ARCA race. That was a big moment right behind, as that could have ended in catastrophe for Joshua Succi behind the wheel of that number 29 car. He had a bit of a wiggle as he headed his way off through the turn and nearly sent Jason Grider, JG1, nearly ended up in the barrier.
Well, here we go, Jason Grider, that 552 machine, and here comes the 29 of Joshua Sushi. He goes down the inside of the 131. He gets sideways and saves it. The 131 of Corey Patton had. Oh, that was a big moment. That could have resulted in our first caution here of the night, and it doesn't, but he is way off the pace at this point. And he is going to have to find a way to make this back up. 85 laps is scheduled for tonight. We're on lap 18. So pit stops will happen at some point. 80% fuel levels. So these guys are going to try and get to that halfway point around lap number 42, 43-ish to make their pits and get fresh new tires. And, of course, a full tank of fuel. Right now, looking throughout the leaderboard, Tyler Brown still out in front with Dylan Bose in second. Jake Ham has just held on to 3rd. Matt Lass into 4th. Derek Fulk is the final member of that top 5 group. Andy Kosick, Chad Gross, Brad Cathcart sit 6th, 7th, and 8th with Joshua Sushi in 9th, about 1.5 seconds off that pack. And then Jason Grider right behind him with Joshua Wilkie and Corey Patton. So that is a look. Kevin Irwin was a scratch. He got into the session, but decided, nope, I'm not racing this tonight. So don't know what has happened to our friend Kevin Irwin in the cheese car. Cheese. So we did see him in the cheese car. I'm not sure what happened to him. He was in the practice session earlier, so just did not put up a qualifying lap here. Yeah, so here...
And I was just going to say, unfortunately, there for Kevin Irwin in that number 7 Cheesemobile, I think his chances of doing well in this race melted away, just like my GPU is.
Well, I do see that he was disconnected for a upload packet loss, so he lost connection to the race tonight. Not sure exactly what ended up happening to him. Everybody single file at this point. Dylan Vos still using that top side. Jake Ham, he's starting to make some moves as he maybe has a little life in those tires, as Dylan Vos is now starting to lose Tyler Brown here as we go down the back straightaway. Dylan and Jake Ham, he's using the bottom of the racetrack, and you can see how much more speed he has, but can't quite clear the 19 machine. And now everybody deciding. I'm listening to driver radio right now, and Tyler Brown was saying something, but I'm not entirely sure what was all being said. Jake Ham, he almost made the move, but just couldn't slide up in front of the 19. That actually loses him some momentum. And Dylan Vos, so close to the wall on the exit of turn number 4. Now he finally says, you know what, I'm going to the bottom of the racetrack here. Got to figure out a way to get by the 821 of Tyler Brown. But Jake Ham, he's making some good movements here, and he slides up the track, and he takes the spot away. What a slide job there by the 85 of Jake Ham. But now here comes Dylan Vos to give it right back here, and now 1, 2, and 3 just separated by just over a second here. Everybody getting a little bit antsy. Here they go, almost 3 wide. Contact with Jake Ham and Dylan Vos down the front straightaway in the turn 1.
Holy cow, we were expecting a squabble between these racers, and we have most certainly got it. Now Tyler Brown looking to utilize that opportunity with a major run on the high side to clear into the race lead into 3 and 4, and he gets it done. Meanwhile, Dylan Vos and Jake Ham still going to squabble in their own fight for P2. We jump to the 2 cam as they head their way off onto the tri-oval. Across the line, they're gonna go. Ham now holding on to that second place spot, but Dylan Vos all around him as well. And look at Derek Folk also involved in that battling as well. But my main attention, as it sure is for you as well, Adam, I can imagine, is between these two now. Tyler Brown and Jake Ham, nose to tail down the backstretch into 3 and 4 once again.
Jake Ham, he's trying everything he can to get to the back bumper of this 821 car of Tyler Brown here on lap number now 27 of the 85 scheduled here tonight. No caution so far. And right now, Jake Ham, he's getting down to the bottom of the racetrack, almost down to that white line. That's exactly where you want to position the car here. But those tires are going to take a beating on that low of the track, on that low point of the racetrack. And you can see Jake Ham, he's just doing everything. Dylan Vos, he's trying to get back into this battle here because he knows he's got a fast race car here tonight. And he's just got to really put in the work. But Tyler Brown doing a great job out in front in clean air. And the 821 just needs to keep it moving here. But Jake Ham inching closer and closer and closer. Now he's almost alongside. Down the back straightaway they go. This might be Jake Ham's best opportunity. Here they go side by side in the 3 and 4. Jake Ham, can he find a way to clear the 821? Can't this time. And they're still side by side. But Jake Ham with all the momentum just to be able to stick with the 821. Gets down to the bottom of the racetrack through the tri-oval. Jake Ham's going to try it again later off the throttle, and now he's finally out in front. Jake Ham just needs to slide up the racetrack, and he knows he's clear, and he is clear. And Jake Ham now takes the lead of the race here on lap number 29.
And Ham cutting shapes at the right time to jump his way up into the front, but I will say, in all that squabbling, it's turned this 3-car battle into a 4, because you can see Derek Folk right there to pass, well, actually right on board with this racer, the sexy, as you described it a little bit earlier on in the show, Adam, the gyro cam. That is good. You can tell that I put my 2 brain cells together to try and come up with that one as he heads his way off into the turns. That car rolling in, and he's rolling his way maybe into a podium spot. As you can see, Dylan Vos, a little bit rough on the high side. He's trying to hold on to that spot for dear life, but there's only so much that you can do around this racetrack, so gotta keep tabs on all 4 of these racers. Will Jake Ham and Tyler Brown have another swaparoo? Will Dylan Vos and Derek Folk have a swaparoo? Let's just wait and see.
I want to just go back to what you said. You have two brain cells? I didn't realize you had two of them.
See, one of them's actually on loan. It's on a student exchange, brain cell exchange program.
Oh man, Jake Ham out in front here. Tyler Brown, who has been leading here so far, but Jake Ham has finally wrestled that away. Dylan Vos has also been a race leader here. Derek Fulks coming into the fray here, though. He is watching this battle unfold, and now Vos has a good run. He's going around the outside this time of the 821 of Tyler Brown, but can't make the move, can't find the momentum as the 821 just sticks a half a car out in front, almost squeezes Vos up into the wall. Good spatial awareness from these drivers, but Jake Ham is going to be happy to see this battle happening in his mirrors. I'm going to say right now we're about 9 to 10 laps away from the pit cycle for everybody to come down pit lane, grab a new set of Goodyears, and of course a new set or some new fuel in the fuel tank, I should say. Don't know what I was trying to say there. The one of my two brain cells wasn't operating there fully functionally. Here we go. Top three still covered by just a half a second. And that is what a half a second looks like in an Arca Menards race car on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway here. Matt Latz, he's also gaining time on Andy Kosick. Let's go back to the battle for ninth with Joshua Wilkie and Jason Greider. Those two are going at it as well, as Jason Greider is trying to get around Joshua Wilkie for that ninth spot, but seems like Josh is doing his best defensive maneuvers right now. Jason Greider just not able to get close enough here. This is the kind of racetrack that you may have to use the bumper a little bit if you want to make a move, especially if the guy is taking the bottom. You may have to get a little bit closer, get a little up close and personal with the bumper of the car in front of you in order to make a pass. Not like what we see in actual short track racing where the bumper is widely used, and if you come back with a nice clean bumper, you were either leading or you didn't, or you weren't really racing. As now Joshua Wilkie's actually starting to pick up the pace here. He's getting closer to Brad Cathcart now. That gap now less than a second in the last couple of laps here for the 077.
And Josh putting in some very good lap times at the present moment, and trying to leave Jason Greider in his rearview mirror, but there's only so much you can do at the present moment when it comes to something like that. But Josh putting in a good performance, up 3 spots from where he started in this race, so pretty good gains for him right now. We're not just saying that because he's the one that hands out our paychecks, but right now he's holding on to a pretty alright spot at the moment, P9 for racers at a pretty intriguing day. Earlier on, he was running in the Weekend Warriors runoffs. Right before this broadcast was up and rolling, he was having some meetings of a work variety here on SMB, and even right before we got live for this show, he was teaching me how to tell my GPU that everything is going to be alright, despite the fact that you are absolutely boiling. I will say, though, a nice little positive update on all that is we've had I wouldn't say a lull in the action, but these racers definitely have settled into a groove. As I say that, Brad Cathcart, Josh Wilkie nearly take themselves out of this race with a moment and a wiggle from Cathcart off through turn number 4. Wilkie nearly running into the back of him, and Jason Greider gonna get involved in all this as well. 3 Weekend Warriors racers, all covered by nothing at the end of this weekend. But no, a good update when it comes to all this. My GPU has actually cooled off somewhat. It's now only at 92 degrees Celsius as Dylan Vos makes a call to come down pit lane.
So Dylan Vos going for an off strategy move here as he will come down pit road here, and Tyler Brown will gladly ensure that second place position here. And now calls from Jake Ham as well. He is going to come down pit road this time. So right now, Dylan Vos into the pit stall as he's in that number 2 slip spot here tonight. We'll get 4 brand new tires and a full tank of fuel. And we're also seeing who else? Tyler Brown is now in. Matt Lass is in. Dylan Vos is now out of the pit lane. Jake Ham is in as well. And Corey Patton has come in to the pit box here. And now here's the 821 issue for Tyler Brown. That is not good. And now Jason Greider is also going to get into the pit. And Jake Ham gets 4 brand new tires. He'll go out right away. You got to think he's going to cycle back out to the race lead once this all sorts itself out. And we'll see, where does Tyler Brown end up? He ends up back behind Dylan Vos after overshooting his pit box in this one. So unfortunate mistake there. And he's actually losing a ton of time here. And Dylan Vos, he's going to get by Jake Ham for the race lead here. So maybe Dylan Vos has a trick up his sleeve, but you got to wonder about the fuel run.
Yeah, I did want to touch on the times that all these racers spent down pit lane. Vos setting the quickest lap of the race at 30 seconds flat, setting your watch to it for the driver of the number 19 car. Well done to Vos to be able to execute that strategy and jump out with the race lead. You can see only spent about 0.3 of a second less down pit lane compared to Jake Ham, so not the biggest swing in the world. Meanwhile, you'll look at Tyler Brown, 49.2 seconds down in pit lane compared to Vos and Ham, both in the 44s. So that is a big kick in the shins for him. Wilkie also having a slow run through the pits at 50.1. Not nearly as slow as Matt Lass, who spent 58 seconds down in the pit lane and 24.4 seconds stopped in his pit stall period. So I'm not sure whether or not he's been like feeding his pit crew sedatives or what, but something very wrong with that pit crew for the number 98 car.
And Brad Cathcart now in for his stop. And he's going to get fresh tires, and he will make his way back out as well. The question is, where does he end up right now? Currently in the top 5, but he's got to get going. He's probably going to lose about 2 more spots if I had to guess, and be in the 7th position for the Aussie.
And he came out of no man's land, so he's gonna be feeling a slight bit lonely throughout this stage of the race. But hey, at least he's running all right, and we can jump to one of these TV cams without the frames going down to 2.
Looking around here, now everything's starting to separate out, but the battle for the race lead is on. Jake Ham, he's picking up his pace here, and he knows he's got the car to beat Dylan Vos tonight. Does Dylan Vos have any tricks up his sleeve? Goes down to the bottom of the racetrack. Jake Ham stays high. And Jake Ham, he's going to use that grip of those brand new tires, as Dylan Vos tires are a little bit more worn in. And don't forget, next week we are live again on Slow Motion Broadcasting, round 3 at Bristol Motor Speedway. So some short track action beginning here at 8:10 p.m. Eastern. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell here on Slow Motion Broadcasting.
And you know, as yeah, so I was just gonna come in and chime in with a story of this action, and now it can be told, considering things are developing in a positive way, I would say, with the technical issues. Once again, apologizing for that. Hey, that's what happens when you produce a 3.5-hour long show and decide not to shut your PC off in between all of that. I got a message from my best friend and roommate who says, "I love how your father and I are now speculating whether or not your PC will catch on fire." I responded with just 2 words, "Thank you," and the rebuttal to that was, "If you come out screaming 'fire, fire,' we know what happened." So, moral of the story, always make sure you have a good system around you.
So supportive.
You can feel the love. It's actually fleas that are biting me directly in my ear canal.
Well, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be very much worse here. Joshua Wilkie, after the pit cycle, he is up in the 7th. How about that?
Pretty all right for Josh.
Yeah, up 5 spots here tonight, but that doesn't make him the hard charger of the night. Right now, that would be Tyler Brown, and even though with the slow pit stop, he is still up 6 spots on the night, and along with Derek Folk, who's at 3, 2 for Chad Gross, 2 for Cathcart, plus 5 for Joshua Wilkie. So some good movement happening amongst these drivers here tonight. And you can just see from our aerial view of Joshua Wilkie's car, he is being chased down by the 50 of Andy Kosick. And on the timing tower right now, that is the total pit stop time, correct? That was from entering the pit lane into exit.
Line to line.
Line to line. And the fastest one was Dylan Vosa, 44.2. That's an incredible time. He did not mess around with his pit stop here tonight. But you can see now the battle for the race lead starting to get closer back together here with Jake Ham, Dylan Vos, and Derek Folk. And who else is joining it? Oh, it's Tyler Brown. Now they're all covered by about just less than a half a second. And right now, Derek Folk goes down the inside of Dylan Vos. Vos trying to defend on that higher line, but everybody knows that the low side is the better way to go here. But Dylan Vos doing everything he can to stay in front of this 78 machine. And if I'm Jake Ham right now, I'm going, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I don't want to see Derek Folk up here up front. What are you doing? You're a GT3 driver. You should not be up here. And Dylan Vos finally finds his momentum again, and now he is just out in front and will take the race lead as Derek Folk attempted to make a little bit of a fall there, but decides against it, and Dylan Vos retakes the lead here on lap 54 of 85.
So some pretty good racing going on between these competitors. It is going to be a thrilling end to this race here at Las Vegas for round number 2 of XSLR. Been a good one up to this point. The strategy once again playing a huge role in it, but now these racers looking to peak at the right time and try and get some good runs to the end of this race. I will say though, props are most certainly due to Tyler Brown. The fact that after a pit stop so slow, you have to wonder what sort of substances his pit crew was on. He's put on a rousing recovery drive. Actually, I say it was a slow pit stop for his pit crew. Then I realized that he missed his marks on the pit stall, so maybe they need to paint him a little bit brighter. But either way, Tyler Brown holding on to a pretty alright spot. Even if you can walk away, just being within eye shot of your race leader, that would be pretty good. But he's now having to come down pit lane very slow off through here. What is going on with Tyler Brown? He makes a pit stop right as I was talking about him, and that right there, folks, is the absolute epitome of a commentator's jinx. And if you'd like my job here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, why not write to us at
All right, so I was just waiting for you to say an email address, but
I was gonna leave it be. I'd like to keep my job.
Well, guess what? Derek Folk has now taken the race a lead here. For the first time, Derek Folk is leading on an oval here at XSLR. Uh-oh. What is going to happen here? And you got to wonder, is Derek Folk maybe pressing a little much here? I mean, I'm looking at lap times here, the last lap times. He did run one of the faster times with a 31.2. Jake Ham ran a 32 flat. So the Zoot Lord Racing driver, Derek Folk, using his tires a little bit more aggressively, it seems like. Which may be a strat, I'm not sure, or anything. Did they also update the driver models in iRacing this past week? It looks like the the driver models actually like look pretty good, and they're bouncing around, and like that actually makes like sense. Doesn't look so
robotic. See, I'm hoping that as we get a little bit further along, iRacing can add in new things like for the Mount Washington hill climb, even if it's just basically like one on rails, just have a deer that can occasionally walk out in the middle of the road. It would make me feel at home, considering I'm a PA driver. Do something like that. Have give these racers the opportunity to potentially flip the bird at their competitors in the sim. That'd make it a little bit difficult for us to do these broadcasts, but you know, I would like that, even on an iRacing broadcast, even on a broadcast on the iRacing channel. I'd very much so be a fan of that. Would be a little bit tricky. I think we would have to have a regular producer for these shows, and then there'd just be someone behind the scenes here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. We just like, I don't know, we pay them in steaks or something like that. We just not even steaks. We just give them like one single raw chicken breast, and that's basically their payment for doing this job. Just like have a sensor bar that they can keep on the driver's windows to make sure if they ever gave the middle finger to somebody else, it would be properly censored.
Well, 25 laps to go. And I want to mention something here. Jake Ham has now fallen down to 5th and 6th. You got to wonder if there's a fuel issue here. You got to wonder. Because he is really slowing up. I mean, his last lap time was a 32.2. I mean, you got to wonder, is there an issue with maybe some fuel calculation going on here that Jake Ham is considering? Because if we actually ride on board, let's listen through the corners here, because he's just coasting a little bit off in the middle of the corner here. So listen what happens here. He gets into the corner and then he gets off.
That sounds like a clutch and coast too.
Yeah, that sounded like a clutch. That really sounded like he put the clutch in because there was no revs at all. Yeah, no, he's clutching in. Because those RPMs are going right back down to idle, and idle RPMs, which is 1150 in these cars. Oh man, I'm sitting here going, how can you be almost out? How can there be a fuel issue? And then I'm going 80% fuel tank. Gets about 40 laps, 45 laps. And here we are. I'm not entirely sure. Things are confusing. Life doesn't make any sense. What is this race? What is life? And
you're living a lie.
Just like last night, I was watching the NASCAR race going, Bristol is just going to Bristol in the next gen car, and it's going to be no passing, boring sleeper race for 500 laps. And then about 20 laps in, AJ Allmendinger has to pull into the pits because his entire front right tire was completely disintegrated. And I went, what is happening? And oh man, that was a great race last night. If you want to see a great race, look, when NASCAR puts out the replay from last night's Bristol race, I highly recommend watching it because it was incredible to watch. And I highly recommend it. Now, Jake Ham, he thinks he's now saved enough fuel here because he has picked up the pace and he's already back into the 3rd spot. This guy has gone back and forth so far a couple of times here tonight, and now he's trying to get back out in front because he knows he's got the fuel to make it, and he's probably thinking maybe not everybody else does at this point. With now 20 laps to go here, Ron. You got to wonder if these guys who were running pretty hard early in this stint, they're starting to back off a little bit.
Yeah, I got to wonder if we're having different racers running different strategies. Dylan Vose is my center of attention right now, and that just about affirmed it. Right as we jumped on board, it was perfect, eerie silence. Frankly, even if I cut the microphone for the audio feed, you would still be able to hear a little bit more. Look at those RPMs drop down immediately, going from the 6,000s, 6,000s, the 5,000s, 7,000s even, close to the red line here in these ARCA machines. It goes from that just down to about 300 as he heads his way down into the turn. He's still making up some moves, though. Despite the fact that he is fuel saving like a madman, he is still able to hold on to this spot. Rather fascinating to see the fact that despite these racers making that call to pit when they are still doing some heavy fuel saving to get to the end of this race. I wonder if they're just doing that out of necessity to make it to the end, or if they're just doing that to have a bit more in their back pocket come time for the final stages of this race.
Well, it's got to be to make it to the end, especially if you were Jake Cam, because Jake Cam, I mean, he dropped through the field. But guess who's joined the fray here and now is the hard charger of the race? It's the 077 of Josh Wilkie, already into the top 5. So he thinks he's got enough to save on fuel and can get himself to the end here as we watch on board here. He's right there on the tailpipe of Dylan Vos, getting a little bit of a sniff of the exhaust fumes off that Jimmy John's car, and he's getting closer. Oh, I think we're in for some fireworks here, Ron, as we continue on here. And Tyler Brown is nowhere to be seen at this point, as he came into pit. I'm guessing he had to think of the fuel as well, and just came in and said, I'm not going to make it to the end. I might as well get my tank reset here, and can definitely make it to the end, because if somebody has a problem, he can get that lap back. But it's just going to be a matter of time before that will become an issue here, is everybody trying to trade positions up front. You can see Dylan Vos, he drops down to 5th. Jay Camp lost the lead to Derek Folk. Oh man, position swapping around like crazy here. Again, you got to wonder, fuel saving, is that going to become an issue? Let's go on board here with Jay Cam and see if he's back to fuel saving a little bit here. Yes, he is. Interesting. Some bunch of crew chiefs are going to get fired tonight, for sure. Not calculating the right fuel stats, because I'm guessing these guys could have maybe ran another lap or two before pitting, and maybe there would have not have been an issue. But Jake Ham seems to be really fuel saving a lot at this point, because I mean, we saw him earlier fuel save. Now here's Derek Folk. I didn't hear his clutch get popped in, so I assume he's not fuel saving anymore. He wants a chance to win this race. Chad Gross getting by Jake Ham. Jake Ham falling back down to 4th. Andy Kosick down to 7th. And wow, we got what is happening here, Ron? I don't know what is happening at this point. I am so confused.
Honestly, I am as well. I'm pretty sure my room is filling up with smoke, not from my PC, but from my brain cooking itself. There's Vos, pretty big clutch and coast moment through turn number 1 and 2 for him. Let's see Josh's perspective as he heads his way down the backstretch off into the turn. 2 meatball flags for Andy Kosick and Matt Last. So the meatball is more common in this race than you would have in a closing down Italian restaurant. May need to load up a replay to figure out exactly what happened to those 2 competitors. I'm also seeing a black flag in the air for Corey Pan, so there may have been some big drama there, as Pan, I believe he picked it up for some sort of moment down in pit lane, because I could see that he was in the pits when that black flag took place. Again, these ARCA cars, no pit lane speed limiter, so these racers have to go about the old-fashioned way, match those revs and go from there. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the deal was with Andy Kosick, because those cars both making that call to come down pit lane. Not sure exactly what the deal is for him.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because our event viewer does not show any doesn't show crashing or anything, and you got to wonder, maybe they just got into each other and spun each other out, because that can happen. That explains it. Andy Kosick didn't have a front clip on the car. So it's that fixed, and a little, that car is looking like a hoopty rod. Yeah, they must have hit the wall and off the racetrack. Oh, and Matt Last saying he bounced off the wall and came right back at Andy Kosick, and that's what caused the damage there. And they must have spun off or some off the racetrack, and that's why we didn't have a caution.
I'm going to try and do
Let's
a little bit
see.
of investigative journalism to figure out what this is. This may not be it, so we're going to do a little bit of fast forwarding here. Yeah, we didn't get any notice of any sort of incident. I was frantically scrolling to try and figure out whether or not there was some sort of drama involving those two competitors, and yeah, just whittling the laps away, trying to figure out exactly when this moment took place. I do apologize for this. That's a problem with oval racing to a certain extent. The wonderful system that we have to take a look for those incidents. Sometimes it'll just say no. So I have a feeling we may have fast forwarded enough, potentially. No, we haven't. I do apologize about this once again. For some reason, Adam, you got the same sort of incident feed that I got, and nothing showing up for these two, but clearly some rather significant damage on their race cars. They're just running strong, running smooth, running good, and running fine. And eventually, something is going to break here. And knowing Malik, I'll hit the wrong button right as we find it, and then I'll cut back to the live action, and we'll never be able to see it again. So this is one slight issue with the other system that we have got. We'll say if we can't find this in another couple of laps, I think we'll just decide to can it and say it was a freak incident that happened. Two clans got involved in a knife fight and somebody got stabbed in the eye.
Well, that would be a perfect way of describing that, because Andy Kosick did have quite a bit of a gap on Matt Lass, and it didn't seem like those two were very, very close to each other. And of course, our victory lane interviews will commence afterwards here tonight. After this one is done, 5 laps to go. Joshua Wilkie, he is leading. What has happened? What in the world? What is happening?
Yeah, right as we were chasing the tail of that replay, Josh has been able to jump up to the front. I don't think he's doing any fuel saving. He must feel good about those numbers. That or the numbers are lying to him, which they may be. He's down on the apron. What's going on with Wilkie?
Let's go on board here, see if... he's out of gas.
I called it. Oh, that's a kick in the nuts.
Oh, man. I'm so lost. I need like satellite GPS to get me back on track here. Here we go. Derek Folk is now your race leader. J-Cam on his tailpipe with Dylan Bose, who have been going at it all race long. Derek Folk has just come into the fray after the pit cycles were carried out here in J-Cam. I think he knows that he can get to it. So yes, we definitely had a fuel consumption issue with this one, as now we're going to go 3 wide as we go into turn 1. J-Cam, can he get there? Yes. J-Cam will take the lead of this race here with Dylan Bose in second. Derek Folk falls all the way down to third. Chad Gross out of field. Joshua Sushi out of field. Josh Wilkie out of fuel. Tyler Brown, he might be thinking there's a chance. White flag, though, is displayed. His chance is all said and done at this point here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is going to be a great post-race interview show after this one is J-Cam out in front after doing a massive amount of fuel saving at the end of this one. Dylan Bose in second. Can he chase him down? Brad Cathcart, he's trying to stay on the podium here tonight. But here comes Derek Folk, and Derek Folk will get by, but J-Cam will be your race winner here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round 2 of XSLR. Dylan Bose second, Derek Folk in third. Brad Cathcart, oh so close, 81 thousandths of a second to a podium finish here. Tyler Brown, after some early struggles, will come home with a very well-deserved top 5. Chad Gross in 6th, Joshua Sushi in 7th, Josh Wilkie in 8th, Andy Kosick in 9th, Matt Last 10th, Jason Greider 11th, Corey Patton in 12th. Well then, we're going to have to break this one down, but we're going to need our interviewees to tell us exactly what in the world happened there. How did we run into a hefty fuel mileage situation here tonight? As Jake Ham will get up to the start finish line. And of course, in good old XSLR fashion, we're going to have ourselves a good old demolition derby maybe on the front straightaway. Yeah, or maybe they're out of fuel for that.
Yeah, that maybe, I guess that could be a good. Oh, here we go. This could be trouble. See, I'm a little bit more terrified for this than I usually would be, just because of the fact that my that my computer is hanging on by virtually its last damn thread. So I'm hoping that somebody doesn't strike the moon. Otherwise, I may have to build one of these races for replacing my PC.
All right. Well, we'll wait for our interviewees. Let's see. What are these guys going to do? They're revving up their motors for something.
Who else is out there on the track? Is there a bowling pin out there? It may be Grider. Actually, no, he'd be the bowling ball in this situation. The three of them would be pins. Can make that two now. Jake Ham's disappeared.
All right. Well, it looks like our drivers are getting into our interview waiting area. Let's go ahead. I'm going to bring on our race winner tonight, Jake Ham.
Could have went.
Jake Ham, the race winner here tonight. Jake, first off, great race. Glad to see you back in victory lane. Secondly, can you navigate us what in the world happened in the second half of that race?
It literally was coming down to a couple laps of fuel, and it was we took off there, after we got tires and we refueled. We're like, okay, we're just gonna go for it, and I think we're gonna pit again. And then I saw a couple people hanging back, and I'm like, oh no. And so I started clutching the first quarter of every turn, and that's how like third and fourth, fifth, kind of caught up there. And then it just gave the opportunity to kind of hug in behind them, conserve some fuel a little bit. And I thought I was good there for a while, but got out front, noticed, oh, I'm about a lap short, fell back again, saved up just enough to where they're right at the last two laps. I was able to just full throttle all the way. And I think that it was my saving grace when I fell back, caught some draft, saved some gas. So it was fun.
I'm trying to figure this out in my head because I'm sitting here as somebody who, I look at the amount of laps and determine, this is when the pit cycle is going to happen. You guys pretty much pitted about halfway through. How did you not have enough fuel at the end?
Yeah, it really came down to whether or not you were drafting behind somebody. And, people that were out in the front of certain packs probably were at least a lap short than other people that were behind them. And that's really what it came down to in most cases scenarios. Like, for example, like I had I didn't pay close enough attention to the miles that we were getting, or the laps per tank or whatever. And I could have went one extra lap before I pitted on the last go. And that I would have been great. I would have just been full breeze, full send the entire way. And after I came out, it was like, you're not running with anybody. You're not in a draft. And then I was like 2 laps short. So I had to save those 2 laps. So it was a lot of coasting, a lot of clutching. And then saving grace was a couple people catching up and getting in their draft.
Oh. Well, while you're in victory lane tonight, last week obviously did not go your way. Tonight does. How does that just boost your confidence going into next week at Bristol?
Yes, I absolutely love Bristol. Bristol is one of those places where tires are everything there. And most people take off like a rocket, don't conserve tires, runs really well. There's a plateau where your tires will hit. And if you can make it past that, conserve enough, you'll just run by everybody like they're standing still towards the end of their at the end of the fuel run. So I'm definitely excited. This was probably one of the most fun runs I've had in a long time. It was fun listening to everybody clutch it into the corners, saving gas. a lot of close driving there at the very end, and I'm really impressed with everybody making it green to the end, and looking forward to next week. Yeah.
Well, anybody you would like to thank for the victory tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, love the broadcast, love to go back and watch. It's always fun. It'll be fun to go back and listen to this, see what was talked about there a little bit. Obviously, Adam, XSLR for, hosting the league here, and then everybody tonight that was racing. Kudos to everybody. And then obviously friends and family for stopping by, watching the stream. It's always good to have support.
Well, congratulations, Jake. You are in victory lane here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Jake Ham, our race winner. We're going to bring in now Dylan Vos, our second place runner here tonight. Discord will be nice. There it is. All right. Dylan Vos, our second place runner here. And Dylan, another great race, another solid performance. Jake Ham kind of got us navigated from basically what in the world happened in that second half of the race. But tell us, fill in some gaps here for us from your point of view.
We all came out of the pits here basically together. It was me. I was leading. Jake was second, and I believe it might have been Derek was third or fourth, and then I was first one out of my box, and then we just kind of slowly blobbed together because I think we were all on the edge for fuel. And then there, about 10 laps or so in, everybody kind of figured out what their fuel number was, and then all of a sudden we're like, "Oh crap, we got to save some fuel." So that's basically all that last run was, with the 4 or 5 cars right there. It felt more like a patch race than it did a Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Because I'll tell you what, it was 3 wide a couple times, and it was like, okay, I can get used to this. This is kind of fun. And then we're all saving fuel at the same time. So it's like you got to figure out a way to push and to figure out a way to still stay with the patch. But Jake did it right. Jake was there about probably 10 laps into that run. He went back about a second, and he saved all he needed to save. Then he just caught back up with us, which that's a way to do it. But I was like, I'd never seen somebody do it and do it so well. So I guess that's why he's got Mr. Oval here. So congrats to him. Good race. I ran out of fuel on the front stretch, so I was on the edge.
Yeah, that was we were both, Ron and I were sitting here very, very confused, and we figured out it was a fuel issue because of just everybody falling back. We seen Tyler Brown go into the pits to stop and make it a 2-stop race. Was the 2-stop strategy ever up for consideration, or were you just straight up, if we're going this far, if we're going to be racing this fuel mileage kind of race, we're not stopping?
The first half I did think it'd be a 2-stop just because of how hard we were all pushing. That first run, me and Jake once we got away from, it was me, Jake, and Tyler that first run, and we kind of gapped the field there for about a second or two, and then we kind of went to pits, and then we all kind of I think we all kind of figured it out at the same time. It was like, oh crap, even if you did go a lap or two more, you'd still have to fuel save at least a little bit. So I think that's all that's all kind of how it shook out. But honestly, I would have loved the 2-stop race because that means it would have been at caution. I had a full set of tires left, so I was like, bring on the 2-stop. Let's race it out.
Well, anybody you would like to thank for the second place finish?
Oh, lots of people. XSLR for this lead. Slow Motion Broadcasting for making an amazing broadcast. You guys do such an amazing job. It's and my friends, family, and just basically everybody that helps support me in doing this hobby. It's not every day that you get to, or 2 weeks in a row that you get to get interviews. So it's super nice to kind of shout everybody out and say hey. So thank you guys very much for the broadcast. You guys do an awesome job.
Well, thank you very much, Dylan. Congratulations. We'll see you next week at Bristol.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam.
We'll bring in Derek Folk here, our third place finisher here in our final interviewee. Derek, you're on the podium on an oval.
Yeah, it's great. I didn't expect to see myself here today. Not sure how I got here, but it was a good, clean, fun race. We had to do a heck of a lot of fuel saving that second stint. And I think I just got lucky being able to save as much as I did and push just slightly harder to kind of stay in the pack. So great race, great finish, and a hell of a race for everybody here.
Yeah, obviously the winner Jake Ham and Dylan Vos have both stated about the fuel mileage race, and of course you tonight you were about mid pack, and you Chad and Corey you're all just kind of just mid pack there. But just tell us what in the world has happened in this one tonight.
Yeah, exactly what Jake and Dylan have said. I mean, it was a fuel save toward the end there, and really taking care of the tires as well, which was a secondary benefit there from doing the fuel save. But yeah, my goal was just try to stay with the pack, not get dropped, take care of the tires, and see where we ended up, and ended up real well today.
Well, yeah, third place finish. Next week is Bristol. Now you are the GT3 master. We determined this last season. What do you have for Bristol Motor Speedway being such a short oval?
Yeah, great question. I have to go purchase that track, so I'll have to do some practice this week. It'll be my first time there, so looking forward to it. Everyone keeps saying there's definitely going to be some accidents at Bristol, which again is just taking caution and being respectful to the guys around you. So definitely we'll get out there and do some practice ahead of time so I don't cause a mess.
Well, anybody you would like to thank for getting in on the podium tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Georgia Liquor Barn and McFarland Wine and Spirits, as well as my race team, Zoot Lord Racing, and everyone here at XSLR and SMB.
Well, congratulations, Derek. You're on the podium tonight. We'll see you next week in Bristol.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Derek Folk, our third place finisher. Let's go one more time through the results here, Ron, and let's call it for a night here, shall we?
Yeah, I think that may be a pretty good idea. I will say, hopefully all the frames have been looking pretty alright throughout all of this. My PC was briefly sounding like a plane trying to take off, but I think it has now since bounced back, so good news all around.
Well, looking at the results, Jake Ham wins here tonight with Dylan Vos second, Derek Folk third, who you just heard from, Brad Cathcart in fourth, Tyler Brown in fifth, Chad Gross sixth, Joshua Sushi in seventh. Eighth place would go to Joshua Wilkie after he was leading out in front and ran out of fuel. Andy Kosick in the ninth spot, Matt Lass in 10th, Jason Greider in 11th, Corey Patton in 12th, and of course our scratch night will be classified on the results in 13th position. Well, that is a look at results. Next week we head to Bristol Motor Speedway. Ron, do you have any final thoughts for tonight?
Well, I gotta say, overall, a pretty solid night of racing action. Confusing at some points in time. This race had some curveballs to be thrown our way, but overall, another fantastic round of this still brand new XSLR season. A lot of actions to look forward to. Still have racing between now and pretty much the end of February. And of course, you'll be able to tune into all of the action here exclusively on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Gives you a very good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well, so you never miss out on any of the racing action. But what a good race here at Las Vegas. What a good duo of races we have had to get this season up rolling and ready to rock. But Bristol next time out, gonna be a barn burner, gonna be a race of attrition to be sure. Sadly, I will not be here next week as I've got some pre-established broadcasting commitments. I don't know why I started to sound like an old British man there for a couple of moments, but no, I'm kind of missing it. That's gonna be a really good race at Bristol next time out. I really wish I was back here on the booth, but I will be back for the final ARCA race of the season shortly after that.
All right. Well, my name is Adam Thomsen. For Ron Maunz and everyone here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, we want to thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week from Bristol Motor Speedway. Good night.